Is this what everyone who's been looking for a more financially viable version of Villa Vie has been looking for? Hi everyone and welcome back. So I just heard about the explorations by Norwegian World Cruise. So today I'm going to be diving into a project that might just be the answer for those of you craving a more, well, reliable world cruise adventure. So I recently made a video about Villa Vie Odyssey, the first affordable residential cruising option being offered. See above, I'll link it, so if you haven't seen it, go and have a look. And I was really interested in it because I'm really interested in looking at cruising as a way to see the world. So whilst not actually residential cruising, this is an interesting proposition. So forget what you know about traditional cruising. We're talking about something entirely new here. It's called Explorations by Norwegian, and it's, well, I don't know, it's a little bit different. Imagine this. It's a year-long round-the-world voyage, but it's not just with any cruise ship. We're talking about Oceania's Regatta, a ship known for its luxury and elegance, and it's been chartered for a full year. Actually, it's just over a year, about 13 months. So Regatta is rated 4.5 on Cruise Critic, and it's described as the perfect Goldilocks cruise ship. So it's not too big, not too small, it's just perfect. So it only holds 694 passengers, so it can visit smaller ports, and it keeps its luxurious feel. But here's the twist. So it's been run by My Cruises, which is run by Flight Centre, which is a really big travel company in Australia. So Flight Centre's Ignite Travel, and they're bringing the entertainment magic of Norwegian cruises to this cruise line. So think Versace plates meeting Broadway style shows. Yeah, it's a really hybrid concept, and I think it's going to be really interesting. So how did this crazy idea even happen? Apparently My Cruises went to Norwegian asking for more cabins on a current cruise, and they said, oh, just joking, why don't you just charter a whole ship? So off they went, and they did. So 370 nights, 220 ports, and 6 continents, and a quarter of all the cabins have already been sold. So, if you're interested, I guess you need to get in quite quick. So here's the real kicker. It's not just a normal sail around the world cruise. It's about flexibility. It's about immersion. It's about blending ocean, river, luxury, and expedition cruising into one epic adventure. Think 24 different segments you can choose from, or go in for the whole year and have a great time. So we're talking about destinations like the Maldives, Bali, Singapore, but also hidden gems like the Seychelles, Madagascar, and Zanzibar. And with a destination director on board, they're taking cues from river cruising, so there's going to be in-depth insights into each of the ports, which sounds really good to me. So is this the answer everyone's been looking for? A financially reliable, customizable, and downright exciting world cruise experience? So I'm going to break down the itinerary, the costs, and give you my honest opinion. Stick around because this is one voyage you wouldn't want to miss. So what is included? So the cruise embarks from Rome in September 2026. So included are business class flights from Australia to Rome. So it starts the journey with a bit of luxury, and there's 2 nights in Rome at the start of the journey. So once you're on board, it's all-inclusive food. There is some specialty restaurants, but otherwise it's all-inclusive. An all-inclusive drinks package where it includes selected wines, spirits, cocktails, beers, juices, and soft drinks. And there's also still and sparkling water included. So the Wi-Fi Essentials package is included, that you can upgrade that if you are planning on working and need something more than that. Or you're on board entertainment, which I think will be interesting as it's sort of a hybrid Norwegian, maybe there's still some of the Oceania feel there. And there's 2 specialty dining packages per person. So yeah, that's probably not going to last very long if you're going to be on there for over a year, though. And you might want to buy more, or the included food's probably good. I mean, if it's anything like the food on Oceania, then it will be amazing. One of the things that really impressed me is there was a US $50 voucher for every port to use as credit against their shore excursions. And they have shore excursions that cover a range of interests and activity levels. There's 3 categories: highlights, local discovery, and active adventure. So I feel like there's something for everyone. I think this will really help you make the most of each port, and along with the information provided before arrival by the destinations cruise director, I think that will make the ports really good. So the price includes gratuities and port taxes. And so what are the costs? So from 99,990, so we'll say 100,000 Australian dollars per person for an inside cabin, which is about 63,000 US dollars. Exchange rate's changing a lot at the moment. If you want to upgrade, it's an extra 33,000 for a ocean view and 53,000 for a balcony cabin. So there's also 24 segments you can purchase. And some examples of that include 55 days London to India for 24,000, 23 nights over Christmas and New Year from Mumbai to Singapore for 10,000, 45 nights, including Singapore, Bali, Australia, and New Zealand from 11,000, and there's an 85-night half world from Perth to London for 30,000. So the world cruise works out at about 270 Australian dollars per night. That's per person in an inside cabin. So that's not too bad, comparable to other cruises, and also quite comparable to the costs on Villa Vie. So this is an amazing itinerary. So you start in Rome and travel all the way through Europe, Italy, Malta, Croatia, Greece, Egypt, France, the Netherlands, Denmark, Germany, anywhere you can imagine, up to Norway and Finland. Then you go to UK, then you go down to Africa, then up to India and Sri Lanka via the Seychelles and Maldives, and then through the South Pacific via Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, go down to Australia and New Zealand. And then you go back up through Indonesia to Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, Hong Kong, Japan, China, and then over to the USA, including Alaska, which I'm going to really shortly, so I'm really excited about that one. Then to Canada, Mexico, Guatemala, Costa Rica. There's a Panama Canal transit, and then through St. Martin, Trinidad and Tobago, before getting to Brazil and cruising the Amazon River, and heading back to the US and Canada, and then up to Greenland, Iceland, and Ireland, before ending up back in the UK in Southampton on day 371. So there was more places than what I mentioned, but really it just covers the whole world. There's quite a lot of really interesting ports, so it will be interesting to see what it's like. So I've been thinking about whether it's worth going on or not. I mean, I only heard about it today, so but compared to traditional world cruises, it takes in a lot more ports and some of the smaller ports because it's a small ship. Compared to Villa Vie, it's a lot more luxurious and there's more included. And most importantly, with well-known brands, you're not going to be worried about them going bankrupt and you're going to be stuck in the middle of nowhere with your belongings. So that is obviously the strongest point if you're going to compare it to Villa Vie. And compared to Villa Vie, there's plenty of dining options, including the included dining rooms, cafes, there's casual sandwiches and burgers at the Waves Grill for lunch, and there's restaurants, Toscana and Polo Grill, and there's a traditional 4 o'clock traditional afternoon tea every day. So that sounds pretty cool. If that's still being operated, that is an Oceania thing, so it's hard to tell. But for me, one of the major cons is, like traditional cruising, there really is hardly any overnight stays in ports. That was the one thing that really appealed to me about Villa Vie, was their long stays in ports and the fact that you could actually explore, go somewhere else, that kind of thing, and really see what you wanted to see. And the itinerary on this is really hectic because it is just one day in port. So there's quite a few, like a week with a day each day somewhere new. So I think that for over a year would be really tiring. Also, unlike Villa Vie, which is residential, it is a traditional cruise. So, but at least compared to normal cruising, there will be people doing the whole year and there will be people doing segments. So everyone that's on there will be on there for a fair amount of time. And it is a small ship with only less than 700 passengers. So it will have a little bit more of that intimate feel that was one of the things that I liked about Villa Vie. And most importantly, it's backed by Norwegian and My Cruises, which is travel centre. So those well-known brands obviously bring with it a lot of less worry about risk factors. And the ship is a top-class ship. It's a luxury ship. It was recently refurbished in 2019. So it's really beautiful. And obviously those two things are what would put it really above Villa Vie. What is interesting is because this is being done by Travel Centre and Norwegian, and obviously sort of by Oceania, not really, but like they're obviously renting out the ship to them. And I'm just thinking that hopefully that might mean that some of the other large cruising companies might consider doing something a little bit more residential in the future if this is successful. Obviously it's only a year, but we can always expand from there. One minus is that it is US dollars on board, but then again, so is Villa Vie. And, at the moment, Australian dollar's just terrible against the US dollar, but then there is a lot included. So probably you don't have to spend that much. So that's probably okay. So, Explorations by Norwegian sails on the 1st of September 2026. So, if you're wanting to go on her, then that's something that you really need to, I guess, think about and probably save up for quite soon. I will link details below if you want to find out any more about it or even book. And if you do book, do let me know in the comments below. But anyway, just let me know in the comments what you think and whether you think it would be a good cruise to go on.